Hey, Tony, talking trash about music. Yes, 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 yes. Welcome in. One light of Ozzy's triumphant going out party, the other night. I'm going to rank the Black Sabbath records. I've been thinking about this a long time. Sabbath has a weird place with me. When I was young, I just thought it was so cheeseball to be playing the evil. And, I always thought all that shit was just kind of stupid. I never. I just thought if you had to play that card, man, there was a certain factor about it that I guess people liked. I've heard Julian Cope, referred to Dum Dum and, down, real simplified, simple metal things. And, I love this band. For the music's sake, it's fantastic. Lyrically, kind of silly. The imagery, really silly. And, certain factions in the band, some things are good, but there is just a problem with the band and as it goes on. I mean, this is another situation where, there was turnover. There was an idea of wanting to continue on. There was an idea of wanting to move forward with the Black Sabbath situation. And, some of the albums were less Black Sabbath and some of the albums had completely different situations with them. But Black Sabbath, of course, when people think of what is the classic Black Sabbath time, what is the classic lineup there? You're really talking about, you know, the Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, who's, you can argue for yourself what is the value of him playing. I think him playing at the show the other night was just absolutely as important as I think it was absolutely just as important as Ozzy playing. Truthfully, I was not crazy about Ozzy's performance. I didn't think it was that great. I am one that I think a lot of these bands like the Rolling Stones and stuff. I know they're making money. I know people want to see them. I know people wanted to see Ozzy, but truthfully, when I heard the notes and I heard what was played, I mean, if the performance was good. But it's just kind of weird the way he was featured. His solo stuff was featured more than the band was at the end. And I know it was they blamed that, I guess, partly on Bill. But let's talk about it, and let's talk about rating. There's 19 records here, so I'm going to try to get through these things the best that I can. I am not a fan, as you probably figure out, of the later period. You're going to see these things being tossed off fast and quick. Let's start with 19. Let's talk with the 13. I think it was a misgiving in 2013 when they came back with the record 13. Wasn't their 13th record, but it was, it still had everybody again. Bill Ward excluded, still Geezer and Tony and Ozzy. And did it have its moments? I guess it has. I guess it had moments for the people that were really looking for stuff. But the shock God is dead and Loner, I guess, was one of the songs. It wasn't too bad from it, but I just think together, I just think at this point it was a rumbling machine. I don't like the idea of other drummers playing. Does it give it more life? I guess you can say it does, but that's kind of that's kind of where it is with me. I am not the biggest fan, as I've said before. I'm not the largest fan. Let me put this back up here of some of the other stuff, the other. Configurations that went on later. I wish that they would have handled it different. Let's just go backwards. We'll start from the 19th album. Let's go to the 18th album. Forbidden. I saw this the other day for sale in the record store there. And if you look at this is again one of the records that they had with Tony Iommi, Tony Martin, Causey Powell, of course, Neil Murray, great bass player, Jeff Nichols, and then you have Ice-T guesting on this thing and some other folks. But the Illusion of Power, that was the big one with Ice-T on it. Just Kiss of Death. This is just out of gas. I don't like the Tony Martin stuff much at all. He wrote most of the lyrics. A lot of it had to do with frustration and what happened and what have you. And I know the record was remixed and they've remixed some of that catalog. And I don't know if that was part of the box set that they released before, but as far as I'm concerned, the songs are just kind of silly and the lyrics are not great. It sounds like he got the person that was next really in line. And That's what we have. Let's go down right down the list here. The 17th record released by the band Cross Purposes, another S Storm, as they say. I mean, you've got this time, at least you have Geezer in the band. Geezer's guiding the thing, lyrically, partly what's going on. Jeff Nichols, and basically the same band, Bobby Rondell instead. But again, Tony Martin, and it's just, I guess it's an improvement maybe on some of the compared to Forbidden, because Forbidden really is lousy. I mean, I was pretty cheap the other day. I saw it at the place, and I was not really interested in that one. Cross Purposes number 17, 1994. Let's go back here to one that is a little bit before this, but is one to me that was kind of, I think part of this is the shock of this. And this is one that a lot of people have at the bottom. This is a lot of people have it because it really was a, when you see the drop off of what happened before this record, you see the Eternal Idol before this, which still kind of hanging on, some Ian and some Gillan and some different stuff there happening. This is kind of where, Causey Powell stepped in and Warner Brothers dropped them. And here's the IRS. This is the IRS debut here. They actually tried to push some singles. People like this one. The Gates of Hell instrumental began. But the whole songs were written by the band, and it just, to me, what do you got here? Nightwing, Black Moon, Cloak and Dagger. Is it an improvement on the ones that I had that we had done before? Headless Cross, 1989. Yeah, but it's also a disappointer. Like the Headless Cross was a big Devil and Daughter. They're still moving on that. The record, at least at that point, wasn't too long. They didn't overdo it as it's some of the ones that had happened in the other time. And while we're talking about that, let's talk about 1999, 52-minute Dehumanizer, TV Crimes, Master of Insanity, trying to take the Master of Reality thing going too far. You've got, really a subpar effort. I mean, it's basic. It's a basic record. It's straight out. They had a deluxe edition. Computer God, After All, The Dead, TV Crimes was the big one. But again, these were songs all written by Geezer, Ronnie, and Tony the second time around. And this is the one that, because of his participation, because of Ronnie's participation, it's probably closer to Eternal Idol. But there's something about it that does not have the same, just doesn't have the same oomph as some of the other ones. And it's disappointing to me. I mean, I don't understand it. It was done for IRS. I just think it's very strange. And you've got Vinny Appice playing drums, and I don't know, man. I'm just not. They were together, and he came back with Vinny, and Ronnie came back together for this, evidently, since Marlboro was first time they were back. But again, I find it disappointing. Let's go to the one close in time to this, but let's talk about the Eternal Idol. The Eternal Idol released in 1987, really in kind of the height of when the digital kind of ruined music. And, The Shining was the one from here, but the thing of it is there doesn't seem to be a whole lot. Bob Daisley, you see him through here. You got a lot of different people playing. Tony Martin again, Tony Iommi, Jeff Nichols, Dave Spitz, Eric Singer playing, actually, and Bev Bevan, percussion and overdubs on Scarlet Pimper Me. It's really good, but Rob Daisley plays bass on this. So, I mean, the personnel's good. The records are getting better here, as we're talking about. But again, I don't think there's any outstanding tracks. And I think the downfall of this record is really the songs. It's really a one that I think is overlooked. Now, let's go to what I consider to be the best one of some of the later era here with Feels Good to Me. I think this album is a little bit less dark, and I think it's helpful here. I think you really get down to the core four of them with Neil Murray. You've got Neil Murray on bass, Causey, and then Tony and the vocalist. And other than that, you've got Jeff Nichols. Jeff Nichols comes in as an additional musician, plays keyboard. But really, Jerusalem, the Sabbath Stones, the Battle of Tyr. I just find this album, even though it's steeped in some of the mythology of early, maybe early Celtic, what they call godless stuff. Some of the stuff that Gene that our man, not Gene, what is their man, Julian Cope likes, and really, really good. And that's my favorite of the ones that were involved with that. So that was Tear, the album from 1990. Now we go from that to what I consider to be a very surprising record. And I remember when this record came into the store, I was managing record stores, and it really came in advertised, and even in the posters and such, as a Tony Iommi kind of solo record, Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. So, it was recorded in 1985, but the problem is, and Jeff Glicksman was the producer, reasonable sound, no stranger to love. I think the songs that Glenn Hughes' involvement is really good. I mean, I think Glenn was really good on this record. In for the Kill, Turn to Stone, Seven Star, Heart Like a Wheel. I think it's really, really good, and I think you've got some excellent performances here with this band. Eric Singer too playing. They kind of really hit their stride here, but it was funny. It sounds like almost it was done like a Tony solo record, but Tony's not a singer, and that's the problem. You got to get a singer to bring it home, and Glenn really helped him with this, as he had helped before, and the other incarnation. We'll get to that here in just a second. But that is my number 12, Seven Star from 1986. We are moving forward here, and I am moving into some stuff. Maybe I can hold up some records here. I had 13. Hold on. Let me put that back up here before, but we're going to get started here. Did I put 13 up? I didn't put 13 up, but that's the only one of the ones before that I got. There's really nothing with this. I mean, God is dead, end of the beginning, Zeitgeist. Beautiful. But anyway, I forgot to hold that up from that. But anyway, that's that one from the most recent one, the last one. And so let's get into the next one I'm going to hold up right now. And that is the oft misunderstood. And I saw somebody say that they consider this to be a very underrated record. I don't know about that. This is my number 11, and it would be Never Say Die. And it's the last Ozzy record. There seems to be a lot of filler in this record. You've got, surprisingly, all songs written by Black Sabbath, but you've got some strange ones here with Swinging the Chain, Breakouts. Look at some of these. It's just a completely different situation. But this is an old Vertigo. I've got a Vertigo one here. And this is just, at this point, Black Sabbath is the same band. All songs written by Black Sabbath. They shared it all. So. And it's very kind of Geezer or whoever wrote most of the lyrics. I guess it was between him and Oz. But there's really nothing memorable. The problem is on this record, what do you like? Johnny Blade, The Hard Road. I mean, it's really different. Some of the stuff different. You got the Bill Ward tracks, and it's a very interesting record. And again, it's from 1978, the 1978 record, Never Say Die, and that is my number 11. Number 10 is going to be, put it back up there, Born Again. Born Again is the one that, after the departure of Ronnie James Dio, what do? Well, then you go get Ian Gillan from Deep Purple, and the next record sounds like a Deep Purple record, and it does. It sounds like it. It's just funny, everybody shapes it around Tony versus would be the deal of, and they put them on the same, because they stay the same time period roughly. I mean, you've got Deep Purple and then Rainbow, which continued from that, but you've had Sabbath through all that, and a lot of people base on the guitar style. And of course, obviously, if you're a guitar player or whatever, these are two of the all-time greats. I mean, this is the all-time creative greats, creative music, creative fantastic. And but in this, we had something a little bit different. So, you know, it's the only album, and it was the last album for 9 years to feature Geezer and Bill Ward. They went away after this one. And it was a commercial success, what they say. Vertigo, 1983. And you're talking about Trashed as a single. It's just fun. I mean, it's a good rumble. It has a great spirit to it. A lot of people don't like it. I mean, it gets a. I've seen some people give it a really crap a review, but I don't think it's bad. I think Born Again, disturbing the priest. I think you're doing okay with this. People do not like it either because it's not really like Sabbath. The vocals really can color it, and Ian is such a dynamic stamp of Deep Purple, of the classic Deep Purple, the deepest stuff. Your Machine Head, your Fireball. I mean, he's just right there. It's just weird to plug him into just normally where Oz would be or where Dio was. It's just strange, but it worked. It worked. If for one record, if for one record, and they also did a version of "Smoke on the Water," as you know, when they played live in 1983. So get that they actually played some of the ones. Zero, the Hero, they actually played too, which was a great record on there. It was probably my favorite song on this record. But anyway, all the songs again created equally to all the members, and I guess they all contribute. That's not number 10 from 1983, the great and underrated. I would say underrated because of so many other great things this band has. Underrated version. Um, Super Born Again from 1983. Let's go from that to a much misunderstood record, 1986's Technical Ecstasy, and this is one that saw a lot of FM play around here. I Need a Dirty Woman was just huge, and it surprised me. It surprised me. It doesn't sound a lot like what they were doing. And this record gets a lot of shit too because it's a little bit different, and to me, I feel like as a fan, this record is a good record, but it really suffers from the disconnection of Ozzy from it. This is more the most disconnected Ozzy felt from any record. And I'm even talking, even Never Say Die. Of course, he was in Alcoholic Blitz, and then he got rescued, and you heard what happened, and he was gone, and then Ronnie was in. But this record's got some burners on it, and they did play live. But I think You Won't Change Me is of course good. Backstreet Kids. The first two songs are really good, but this is an underrated rocker, and for any other band would be, put if any moderate rock band would consider this to be like the pinnacle of their career. So I'm going to go with that one as number 9, 1976 is Technical Ecstasy. Let's go back, and this might surprise you, for number 8, and I'm doing it because of the sound quality, and I'm doing it because of the song, and people might shoot me with a gun. Like, shoot me with a gun. You ever heard the Wesley Willis song, Shoot Me With a Gun? Anyway, the first record. Why is it so low? Because there's so many other great records they've made in the catalog. Black Sabbath, The Wizard, behind NIB. NIB they played, it's funny. Bit of Finger Warning, Sleeping Village. It's just, to me, there's a lot of, hey, this is what we do. But I never really found it to be, it's great in that it's new and that it was a different vibe and it was different. Scared the shit out of me, that cover, that's for sure. I don't want any woman that looks like that. She scares me to death. It's funny how some of the GTOs and stuff, that one girl, Spanky or whatever, tried to look like that. Hey, monumental record in style. There was hardly anything. Well, you had your Blue Cheers, you had your people from that era. But what is that band from that the guy from the Ramones was in? Dust. They had them too. They were around. There were some heavy hitters back then too. Number 7, I had the one I don't have on vinyl. OCD, the enormous 1981 Mob Rules. Mob Rules is really, really good. A 40-minute record on Vertigo. Turn Up the Night, the Mob Rules. Fantastic record, 40-minute record. The second one, the cover really being very kind of offensive, and that's turned a lot of people off. E5150, the instrumental, and Into the Mob Rules, the Sign of the Southern Cross, Falling Off the Edge of the World, and over, man, it's great. I mean, they come at the end. So I mean, I think this is underrated. I think they played a lot, and it's got live shows on the bonus ones. But you sense they got plugged Ronnie in where you had Ozzy before, when Never Say Die era. So I mean, this is the second one after that, and I think the other one, is yet to come. Shows me what I think about that one. But that is Rob Mob Rules, and that is from 1981. Next, I'm going to go to a record who some people like, some people don't like. And this is really, I don't know if it's you want to call it bloated or however it feels, but it feels that way. Am I Going Insane was a single from it. I'm talking about the perplexing at times Sabotage, including Billboard spandex on the front, on the front and the back. Hole in the Sky, Megalomania, I love it. The Thrill of It All, Superstar, Am I Going Insane? The Writ. This is wild. This is a wild record. It's kind of a paranoid record. It's kind of a strange deal, but at this point they got ripped off and they were really pissed off. This is when they had been ripped off and but they're not, they said it took forever to record. It took forever to get itself out. Had good ratings, Certainly, I would not put this in, and you're going to find out soon with my rankings that I consider the pinnacle. There's a pinnacle of time when they had 3 records in a row, where the strength of the records is just equal to maybe the Stones thing or the Beatles, and when they had that. There's not a lot of bands in many genres that could sustain the quality for as long as these guys did, and I think this falls right outside the circle. Certainly, it's got some of the best stuff. And I think some people say, well, the harder core people like that. Well, I guess I can see that. I mean, I can see somebody saying there's a certain romp and darkness to that that's really not indicative of a lot of the other stuff, and you've kind of got to be a hardcore to really prefer that record and listen to that record. I get you. I get you. I get you. That's number 6, 1975. Sabotage. To me, now let's go to the introduction of the new singer here in 1980s. Complete new, and it really forced us to divorce ourselves to what is the sound of Black Sabbath. Shocking at the time, but my God, hard, 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 hard to deny. When you talk about Neon Nights Walk Away, the band had such energy. Bill Ward was so lit up, man. Children of the Sea, Wishing Well, I love. Wishing Well's like one of my favorites here. Yeah, I think it's really, really, really good. And this is a record that I think needed to be seen by needed to be seen new. And you hate to say this, but it's almost the listening of it really was probably when Ronnie joined. When you think of it, it's probably the close to bursting out of the standard rock thing into where I was not sure where it was going to go. I mean, you hear the Dio stuff and stuff, yeah. But this is a Martin Birch production, and it just hits you like a damn. It's not a Def Leppard thing. This is like right in the face, and just sounded so good. And Butler first, Dio, Iommi Ward, and lyrics by Ronnie James Dio. All keyboards played. Jeff Nichols is number 5. So this is when Jeff entered the picture, and Jeff always, sustained and became like a member after a long, long, long time. But at least he wasn't abused like that guy from Rainbow. What was that guy from Rainbow that put out the stuff that was kept being thrown off the tour and stuff and blamed for stuff? It's terrible. Harry was mistreated, but you hear a lot about that stuff from the other camp in Purple. Number 4 is going to probably surprise some people. I know a lot of people think this is the pinnacle, and it was a great one. I remember Bucknell, man. This is when this record came out when I was a kid. Holy moly, it scared me to death. That guy waving the sword in the thing there. War Pigs, Paranoid, Canavan, Iron Man, Rat Salad, Fairies Wear Boots, man, shit. Come on, dude. And look at them here. Look at the Oz. They tried to, and this is neat the way early on that they put Oz, the singer, on the one side. I'm sure that, hearing what you hear later, probably Tony was probably pissed. What are they singling this guy out for? Well, he's a singer. He's a communicator there. But straightforward, man. Roger Bain. Chief. Anyway, I got a green label in here, brother. I don't know how worn it out it is. I love it, and it's the great record of Paranoid, which would be. It's amazing when you look at these Paranoid now at 1970, and you're thinking, okay, well, Paranoid's at 1970, then what's left? Well, what's left, guys, are three records that hit in three consecutive years and constitute three of the pinnacle of this band. And I don't think they ever got anybody could really argue that these three records, and I can interchange these any way you want to, but this is the way I'm doing it now. And I know that there's a lot of people that think that this record, the third that I have ranked the third, volume 4, there's a lot of people that this is their favorite, and I'm not gonna argue with anybody who likes Wheels of Confusion, Supernaut, Snowblind, Saint Vitus Dance, and Cornucopia, Laguna Sunrise. I mean, come on, man. This band was in another world at the time and should be thought of in sacred terms. At this point, I guess they figured it with the ripoff, they were getting ripped off, they were making money. But they were also happy because they were drugged out and they're having a good time and I don't know what's happening inside the band. It didn't seem like there was much of a fight. I think they were getting along okay at this point, and this is the classic period. 1972's Volume 4 is my number 3. My number 2, what's it going to be? Well, again, could it be one or the other? Yeah, it could be one or the other, but I'm going to go ahead and say this, and people may be pissed off about it. But this album is so revolutionary. Number 2, the great, the heavy of the heavy, the breakthrough heaviness. The breakthrough heaviness realized by down tuning the guitars for the first time. The otherworldly heaviness, frightening to many people. Unmatched Man, Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, Into the Void. Man, there's only one. There's only one Black Sabbath master of reality, and I think it is. It should be. I'm saying it's number 2. See, really? Well, that means what's number 1. That's number 1. And number 1 could be, this could be my own test. I mean, I have, from the moment I heard a couple of these records when I was young, this one, and I was really put off really freaked out by the cover. And that's a one thing for a long time, all this stuff about, your spirit and everything. To me, I thought it was kind of just sacrilege, but you're talking about a national acrobat. You're talking about Sabracadabra, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. But my favorite of all, Looking for Today into Spiral Architect. I mean, that to me is the killer. That's my favorite. And when you hear me count through my songs, that's going to be somewhere up there, man. But anyway, I counted through them. I love them. Don't profess to be Mr. Metal. You're not going to hear a whole lot of metal on my thing, but these guys are melodic and these guys are good and these guys played great music and great riffs and had such a profound effect on all the heavy music that follows throughout all the genres. I'm talking about the great Black Sabbath tribute to them, tribute to their concert and all the rock royalty that feeded them and played before, and they deserve every bit of it. I'm glad they're going out in style and don't drag the poor guy out anymore. We're getting really old, dudes. When I look at some of the people that I admire, 80 years old, it's hard to face, but it's where we're at. Appreciate the high points, man. Appreciate the high points. And 2013 was a mistake, but if they could get rid of that, and I'd even deal with the Tony, if it would have gone back to about 7-star and stopped about there, Dehumanizer wasn't too bad, but yikes. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Please leave your list below. Everybody loves the Sabbath. Everybody knows about Sabbath. Please leave your favorite ones below. Please leave your list below. Please tell me where I'm wrong about all this stuff. A lot of people have a big opinion about this, and rightly so. They are absolutely great and absolutely are alive in the ears of anybody walking down the street, hearing somebody playing an electric guitar. That's how it goes, man. I will catch you guys later. Leave your list. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. And we love you guys as a subscriber. We really do. And I'm sorry this was a little bit long tonight, but Black Sabbath is kind of a special band. So anyway, I'll be back at you with my Sabbath songs before long. Please leave all your thoughts below. Subscribe. Thank you guys, man. See ya.